Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. This is the unexpected video I didn't expect to make. I've actually just cancelled the recording of a main series video. I was about 8 minutes in and something hit me, and then I figured I needed to go test it, and I was gonna do that and then go back to the other video, and then I felt that maybe I would just do it in that video, and then I felt that that wasn't the way to go forward. So we just basically previewed our entire season, spent a long time, a long video previewing everything, and then I ended that recording, started recording to like actually do the season, and yeah, I came to the realization that at some point in my brain, I have Candy Star down as a mile 3 and Stardrum as a mile 1. But when I look at the bars, Candy Star, and with the breeding indicators and everything, this, but mainly the distances that both parents actually ran at, a Candy Star might be a mile 1 after all. And so I've booked out this little series of tests between a mile 1 and a mile 4. Best way I can think of doing it, I saved the old transfer list. I started a brand new one. I put Candy Star on it. I put Stardrum on it. I exported them. I went to a backup of the save to make sure that they're still in that game. But we've now got the 4-year-old versions of those two, and I've got 4 big races: a mile 1, mile 2, mile 4, and then a mile 3. That's just the way the schedule goes. But I'm going to run Candy Star through the Pegasus World Cup, the Emirates Dubai World Cup, the Longines Dubai Shima Classic, and the Takara Zuka Kinen. There are other grade 3s and other grade 4s. The big two are the Pegasus and Emirates Dubai World Cups. Now, I'm not going to run them against each other, I don't feel. I don't think that would work out particularly well. So what I'm going to do is I have saved. This is going to be a baseline save. This is in the breeding save. This is our little testing area. Zingerman Haig is still here as a 7-year-old. Everything we've done with him, we've got Brex, we've got Bertie, we've got Violetta, Drom, Phillips, Voronova. Kind of a nice little group here, to be fair. Can't remember if any of these are worthwhile breeding for. Oh my god, 130, 139. Yeah, they probably are. They probably are. Okay. I mean, that's nice to know. But yeah, so we're setting our baseline here. And then what I'm going to do is clear Stardrum, who's also booked in the same races. Gonna go and make sure. Huh. There you go. Gonna go make sure that Candy has the right jockey. Which we don't at the moment. So I'm trying to remember who I like. I know I like Chris Landros, but not in this save. Yeah. Huh. See, we haven't even got a jockey in this one. Joey's not bad. Ooh, okay. So Corey might be the best. So 85, and the other two are full. So I'm really. Uh. Yeah, Ray Eichelberry. Probably just ahead for me. Probably just ahead. So like 92, 90, and what's that, like 84? Yeah, you're kind of close, but you're not kind of there. So I'm just trying to find the best guy. Yeah, Fergal. So like 69. So unless someone else is full, we're not going to worry about it at all. We're just looking at open jockeys. Other jockeys might be better, and we could book them in, but just want to have that consistency of jockeys, you know? Let me just finish off going down the list. Dylan Davis isn't bad. He's just not the best option. And yeah, I think that's kind of it. So Fergal Lynch will auto book, and then no point in getting an apprentice. Sweet. So Fergal Lynch 8-4. So we're gonna have to remember that for star drums. Actually, if I just reload the backup, they're both booked. Fergal's right there, which makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so now we've got our jockey assigned. Clear star drum. Book Fergal. Boom. Beautiful. That's easily set up. And let's uh, get rid of Haig for now. Sweet. So this is going to be a little setup. So unless there's injuries, all we're going to do is skip to the next race. And we're going to test now at these four distances, these two horses that I think could be very similar in terms of their distances. So going into this, Candy Star Mile 3, Stardrum Mile 1. Suspicion, both Mile 1 to Mile 2. And we're going to compare these results, which means I should have a notepad open. That's to reset my internet. Very good commands, by the way. Very good commands. Open up your command window, or whatever they call it these days in administrator mode, and then copy and paste each of these one by one. If you're having internet issues, restart the computer. And if the issues are anywhere to do with your computer side, then this kind of resets everything again. So I had some internet issues. So all I'm going to do here is Candy Star, Star Drum, and then so 1 mile 1, 1 mile 2, 1 mile 3, 1 mile 4. Oh. Bingo, bingo, bango. Okay, so I'm going to put this off to the side, and I will be typing some results into that, and we can kind of then compare a lot easier. So, okay, Gulfstream. The Pegasus World Cup. I know it's late on in the day. There we go. So, yeah. Everybody's on weight, of course. There's no real handicapping. We're not the form horse. There's a nice little Dubai horse here too that could be really good. Strong field, a bunch in the mid 120s. Got high 120, and we're at 130. So yeah, this will be really interesting. So Candy Star favorite. As we start off with a 1 mile one race, the Pegasus World Cup out in Gulfstream, Florida. So our first of 8 races today, the same 4 repeated twice. Once with Candy Star, once with Stardrom. Going straight to the front and stretching the field somewhat, which is impressive, but also really nice. It's going to take a real closer to sort of make a huge difference in this one. So we're half a mile from home now. Coming down round the bend, starting to kick on a little bit. And we do like that final furlong ourselves. So we do have Blair and Bowl pulled up with an injury. I think they are a pretty good horse. So there is that to kind of watch for. And Latham Cottage is coming through strongly. But Candy Star runs really, really well. And it's clear by what? 6 lengths? 4, 5? Maybe 6. Yeah, 5.2. So I'm just going to... It's going to type that in. And... it's kind of how I'm recording it. Position and then the value of the lead or deficit to the leader. Yeah, perfect jockey to test with as well. Perfect jockey to test with. Okay, made all easily. We're up to 134 as well. We'll be tracking their ratings through this as well. So I kind of want to quickly set up a little pathway to track all of that as well. Yeah, just like feels like a mile one to me, really, like we'll see. Like Stardrom has been amazing at a mile one. And so we'll be able to compare against the exact same field, kind of what Stardrom does. But this is a mile one horse with a ton of potential already filled out. So let me just make a note of the 132 starting for Stardrom. And that's cool. And now we're going to use Stardrom to book out a little way in advance, just so we get to the next booking here. And so we just remove that, and that puts us in range of Candy Star and their next race. And then we're going to do the same the other way around as well. So when we're ready to run Stardrom, Candy Star is going to be our little progressor. So we're going to skip back. But yeah, 5.2, a Pegasus World Cup. I mean, it's a domestic race. That's where Candy Star's thrived. When we've moved abroad, it's where we haven't really done amazingly at. That's the 6s and the 5s. The 3s, the 2 domestic races. So it's not without the world of possibility, and we do have adaptability that we haven't seen go up enough. That's like we have never got a mile 4, so if we're a mile 3 horse that has this much distance adaptability, we'd get to a mile 4. We haven't. But if we're a mile 1, or maybe a mile 1.5, we should get to a mile 2. And we're struggling at a mile 2. So there's a lot of questions over it. There are a lot of questions over it, but gotta remember not to save here as well, because we gotta go back to our start of season. And here we go. We're gonna get very close. I was gonna say, so the Shima Classic, gonna go all the way now to a mile 4, and again we're gonna be the best horse in this field. That's fine, but there's the trip to Dubai, the unknown factor. We've got a Canadian Grade 1 winner. We've got a British Grade 1 winner. We've got a Dubai Grade 1 winner. We've got a couple of Saudis as well. So kind of a mixed bag of a field. Don't know what to really think. But if we don't have the distance, then there's such a minute chance that we actually would win. Let's get ourselves set up and watch ourselves run this one out. Not as much out at the front. You know, we got horses up ahead of us and alongside us, which is way different than the last. We got like 7 horses or 8 horses now poking away on screen, whereas before I believe we had 4. We had ourselves, 1 behind, or 2 behind, then 1 at the back. So either 1-1-2 or 1-2-1. We are still at the front. We're still in a solid place. But the other race would be finished by now at a mile 1. And at a mile 4, now we're going to see. This grey, who is this? Between Grand looks absolutely massive compared to other horses in this field. Glacial Reed looks quite big. Oh my god, this other grey looks absolutely massive too. Do all horses look like that? No, like there's definitely like a big difference in size between these horses. Oh my god. Normal build. Sorry, average build, large build. Average build, small build. Yeah, I don't kind of believe a lot of what I'm reading there. Okay, so third, and we were what, 1.2 off? Didn't look like winning. Didn't look like winning. So mile 4. Kind of interesting. And we then drop down to a 131. Okay. There's nothing booked this month. So we're going to use Stardrom again to skip ahead. Nothing booked this month, because we've only got those automatic entries. So I think it's the Keenan and what's the other one was still to run? What's the other one we need to run? We run Dubai. No, we run Pegasus. We ran the Longines. What else? That's the Keenan. So where was this? Why didn't it book us into that? I'm kind of confused there. I'm kind of confused. I knew that the mile two should have been second, and it just never popped. I don't know why we weren't booked. Ha. Huh. Yeah, guess we skip. That's fine. Mile three, fourth by 3.6. And we fall down to A. 129. So a point below where we're at. So the mile two is the only one we didn't race with Candy Star because it never popped. And that's really annoying. But thankfully, there are more than one like really good mile twos, and we just need to pick a really solid one. So we could go for the Judmont. We've got the Irish champion, got the Jockey Club. Champion Stakes is probably a slightly bigger race. The Breeders' Cup's massive, right? That's kind of the one I was looking for. I think if I'm going to do any of them, it's probably the Breeders' Cup. Which does mean we've got to go deep into the year, but that's fine. Just need to stop at the start of November and make sure we're booked in. That's about it. We didn't double book it, right? It's on the same day as the Shima Classic, right? Is that what I've done? Is that what I've done? I think that's what I've done, right? That would make sense to me. 28th of what, March? Yeah, I booked both of these. And it just took the Shima Classic. That's what happened. Okay, at least I understand now. We still got the Breeders' Cup Classic. Kind of wanted to run that though, so sure, can't change it. Made a mistake. Absolutely fine. We move on. We move forward. We pivot. Pivot, pivot, pivot. Start of October. And that should put the Breeders' Cup in range. This should be the last simulate forward we need to do on Stardrum. We indeed have Candy Start lined up. So now we can go forward a month to get to our mile two. I clicked, it did absolutely nothing there. That was kind of worrying. I thought maybe it had crashed. There's a Sprint. There's a Breeders' Cup Turf, which, huh? Oh boy. That would have been a better mile 4 to run. Yeah, that would have been a better mile 4 to run. Eek. Okay. Maybe I redo this. Maybe I just redo this. Because that means that would give us the Dubai World Cup, which is like a 12 million race. And this, I believe, is a 7, and the mile 4 is only a 6. So there's not that much difference. It's still super high profile, but the mile 2 goes up from a 7 to like a 12. So the mile 4, I think, stays at 6 million. They're both maybe 6 million, but the mile 2 doubles in value pretty much. So yeah, Candy Star just absolutely decimates that one. Kind of as expected. Again, domestic. Absolutely fantastic. What was that? 3.4. So a mile 1 to a mile 2 wins both those races. 5.2 and 3.4 distances to second place. Mile 3, fourth place, 3.5 lengths back, and a 1 length back in third place at a mile 4. So I think to keep things fair, as we finish on a 1:35. Okay. So this is what I have. Candy Star. This is the setup. So I'm gonna go ahead here and just say that this is Pegasus World Cup, the Dubai Shima Classic, the Takarazuka Kinen, and the Breeders' Cup Classic. Because that's what that is. And then I think, because what this is going to be is what? Oh, okay. um, that's fine. So we're going back to the start of that anyway. With them both booked in. Take the stud. Yes, we've got the Emirates Dubai World Cup. We're losing this, and there's a Breeders' Cup Turf, whatever the Breeders' Cup Turf is going to be. Where is it? It's a mile 4, and it's going to be November. Yeah, it's just a Breeders' Cup Turf. Okay. That's November 7th there. Sweet. Let's go back to November 7th. And book Stardrom in for this. So this is what we ran. No, it's not. 20th of March. Oops, a daisy. That's April. That's close. It's not quite right, but that's close. And we ran the Shima. Okay, sweet. So that gives us the Pegasus World Cup, the Longines Dubai Shima Classic, the Takarazuka Kinen, and the Breeders' Cup Classic. So those are the four we just ran with Candy Star. So this is what we're going to record for Stardrum, and then I'm going to do the ones I kind of think's much slightly higher quality, much slightly. I was going to say much better, but I don't know if it's going to be much better. It's going to be a bigger test, so we'll see. So we keep the World Cup and the Keenan. We add in the Dubai World Cup and the Breeders' Turf. So yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this plan. So this is actually more testing as well. So let's go ahead and see what was the biggest win for Candy Star. Could be the biggest win for Stardrum. Two brothers, of course. Ingleby Star. We're starting off at 132. We are going to be off and running. Oh, there we go. We're going to go up the inside, straight to the front. Kind of similar like Candy Star. Not quite building as much of a gap. Not going up quite as quickly, but still not that many horses alongside us or with us at all. And Stardrum now starting to push out and go clear and go very, very clear. And before we get to the final furlong marker, we are all alone on screen until I zoom out. And everyone's fighting there for that second place. And Stardrum comes home quite comfortably indeed. Quite comfortably indeed. 8.6. Wow. Well, ain't that something? That is. Yeah. Okay. Just that's scary. I'm not gonna lie. That's damn scary. Okay. We're heading to March, so this should take us through February enough to where we can get that booking. And that'll give us a little mile 4, the Shima Classic for Stardrum. And yeah, I don't love this distance on Stardrum. I don't know if they can get where they want to go. We are going to find out. We're 100% just going to find out. It's going to be towards the end. There's the Shaheen. There's the Turf. Shima Classic then. Top rated, form horse, unbeaten, perfect horse. It's the biggest distance that we're going to run. And so I think it's also the second highest prize money we're going to run as well. Maybe. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, again, very similar. Off quite well. Kind of already losing on the back stretch. The fifth place horse. We've got a group of 3 in behind us, but of course, those extra 3 furlongs as compared to the first race. Remember that we were well clear going into the final furlong. That's not going to be the case. We're already probably starting to flag a little bit here. The race ended here, and now we've still got this bend and the home stretch to go down to the final 1.5, final furlong. Oh my God. Oh my God. You didn't just do that. You didn't just do that. Okay, is anyone else thinking the same as me? And that is that I have severely messed up. Because if that's how they run a mile 4, can we connect the dots? Candy Star wasn't anywhere close. They ended up 5th in the Belmont. Stardrom had a bigger winning margin at 1 mile 1. And they turned a length and a quarter loss into a 3.5 length win. And my fears that I deeply suspected to be true, because I listened far too strongly to the results of the trials, didn't vary them enough, didn't introduce enough variables into them to get a true picture. And that led me to believe that Eve's Secret was way better than they would actually turn out to be. Candy Star was exactly who Candy Star had shown, except that it did push me to start believing a mile 3, mile 4, which is why I went with them for the Belmont as well. Um, yeah, Stardrom should have been our triple chroner. Stardrom should have been our triple chroner. And I've known it in the back of my mind, and I've tried to talk myself out of it, and that Candy Star was just going to be slightly better anyway. And it's like you can lie to yourself pretty dang well, and you can kind of hide it. And other people have started to mention it too, and I know it's the likely scenario. And now that one result kind of makes me believe it uh, almost completely. Candy Star couldn't get a mile 4, took the first 2 legs. Stardrom should have been the horse with the bloodline, the horse I adored, the horse that I knew was a mile 1 god. And the trials and my misreading of the situation made me go with Candy Star. Had them ranked 1 and 2. Candy Star 1, Stardrom 2, Eve's Secret 3. I came out of the trials thinking Eve's Secret 1, Candy Star 2, Stardrom. What the hell? Oh, I should have. I should not have done that. I think we've left our third triple crown on the table. Krabby's down. Probably shouldn't have won, but did. Plateau Brex fully deserved to win. Candy Star came close, but it should have been Stardrom, and they might have had a very, very good shot. I never tested past the mile one. I never tested past the mile one. I lived and died by the trials, and oh boy, did we die. 138 rating. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. Oh, it hurts. It's my own fault. It's 100% on me. It's 100% on me. Got no way around it. I hate that that happened, though. I hate that it happened. I understand how it happened and why it happened, and I went with the information I had. But yeah, other people have pointed out just how the CK trials don't show you the full picture and the reasons why. Just some horses don't perform there or they overperform there. So, there's a chance of over or underperforming anyway. But then the fact that you're running in that field that you'd never run against in game anyway, um, is going to affect how quickly the front horses go out, or are there going to be any closers in the race? And yeah, so you should definitely vary up the styles of horses, the qualities of horses, the number of horses, and so on and so forth. I did adjust some variables. I didn't adjust enough to get a true reflection. And even then, like I say, you can under or overperform in certain cases. You've got to test them in the real world. So the CK trial is good to get an idea, but don't live and die by that idea in game. And I did. But yeah, this Star Drum is 12 from 12. And how much prize money is it just won in 2 damn races? $5.4 million, 1.8 in the Pegasus World Cup, and then the Shima Classic, 3.6. And that's going to be another 1.8 if we were to win that. And then this, I believe, is 6, 7. I think it's a 7. So yeah, so if it wins both of those, what would that be? 11.3, 11.2 million for 4 races, and we didn't run it at the Triple Crown. Knock knock, who's there? I'm who? I'm stupid. Oh my god. Well, I'm not going to dwell on it. I have as much as I'm going to. I'm going to learn from it. That's for dang sure. Um, I will say that we didn't watch this race for Candy. We did simulate, so I'm just going to actually simulate it. And doesn't win at a mile 3. Okay. 0.2 out. Dwelt. So it didn't have the best start, and then it lost by a fraction. So that might just be a bad run. On a better run, that probably does go out and win. It does drop ourselves down to a 136, which kind of sucks, to be fair. Although after the same point, Candy Star was at a 129. Does start 2 points lower, but that would still only be a 131. So, yeah, at this point, Candy Star was 1 point down and Stardrum is 4 points up. Definitely, definitely seeing a pattern here. Definitely seeing a pattern. In all the trials, at all the distances, Stardrum was obliterated by Candy Star at the beginning of their 3-year-old season. This is a year later. That has to be said. but 3.5 lengths better winning distance at a mile 1. An almost 5 length difference between them at a mile 4, going from third place for Candy Star to a win for Stardrom. 3.5 lengths difference again between the fourth place Candy Star and the second place Stardrom, who was a fraction away from winning. And Candy Star won this last race at a mile 2 by 3.4 lengths. And so we're going to see if Candy Star can do a little better than Stardrom in this one. Or do we get a clean sweep? Because I think it might be a clean sweep. I mean, that's also something I need to kind of think about too. Is it better to run the Arc de Triomphe as the test rather than the Breeders' Cup turf? Even though the Breeders' Cup turf is gonna be worth a little more money. That could be an option. Because that will be 6 million versus 5 million. The field looks pretty good, but not like amazing. Yeah, that field looks absolutely terrible though. Yeah, no, I think sticking with the Breeders' Cup turf then is the right way to do this. I do think it's the right way to do this. Okay, so for the test one, Stardrom is kind of winning nicely. Almost skipped. Shouldn't skip. There's the mile. There's the distaff. There's the Phillies turf. That mile, the sprint, the big turf, which we will be running in test 2. And that brings us to the Breeders' Cup Classic. Probably slightly different fields in both cases. What an interesting sky that is. I don't think I've ever seen that sky. Wow. Purple hues. Not an amazing start for us. I think that's kind of what we read was happening in the Keenan as well. So that's maybe a little to look into. We could be getting blocked off here. I kind of hope that Shamrock and Crafty drop back a little to give us a little room to run, or even better, we get ourselves room here. We can step out, we can run our turn, we're not super wide. Ooh, I don't like how far back we were, but I know we can be a rocket ship when we want to, inside the final furlong, and that is what's going to happen. We are going to power on through, we are going to go crazy. Hand in the air. Absolutely fantastic. 3.4 for Candy Star. 6 lengths for Stardrom. We finished at a 135. We started this at a 136 and 1. And that's going to give us a final 139. Oh, the Keenan. Oh, even if we hadn't gone up rating, like this is the path to 140. If the other game is like this in terms of competition in these races and we just ran these 4, the Pegasus World Cup, the Longing Dubai Shima Classic, the Takarazuka Kinen, and the Breeders' Cup Classic. If we ran those four with Stardrom, we could be hitting 140. Like, I've got this for the second already set up. Like, this is already to go to record data for the second. But I also don't know if I need to a certain degree because like Stardrum won that, like I say, 3.4 more. That was 2.6 more. And then we bettered their positions by two, by two each time. That is a gap of 4.6, and that's a gap of 3.4. That's not 4.6. That's 2.2. Sorry. No, because we did win. Yeah. No, that is 4.6, and this is 3.4. So consistently in all these races, Candy Star's getting stomped by Stardrom in their respective turns. And they both lose ratings at a mile 3. Candy Star also lost it at a mile 4. But yeah, like the ratings, the records, the margins. Candy Star won 2 out of 3 Triple Crown races. Stardrom didn't get a run. I'm a bad, bad man. I'm a bad, bad man. What's that? 1.11. So we would be 11.4 million to win all 4 of those. It wasn't impossible to see Stardrom being this way. It really wasn't. Until the trials, like I say, I had it that way. Other people in the comments had it that way. I thought I was seeing something slightly different that I had to go for. And yeah, it ended up not quite being what I thought. Okay, let me clear. Yeah. Let me clear those out before I forget to do it. So, Pegasus World Cup, Dubai World Cup, Takarazuka Kinen, Breeders' Cup, Turf. Yeah, for some reason I thought I just run those, but I didn't. We run the Classic and we run the Shima. Yeah. Mile 4, November 7. Okay. They're both set up. We do have our jockey. Yes, we do. Sweet. Okay. So again, going to use Stardrom to move time ahead as needed, but Candy Star is up first. Let me get my notepad on the monitor so I can see kind of what's happening. And I'm just going to skip these. We've kind of seen them run and win, but Candy Star does win. So it's not as impressive as the last one. Little 2.2, still not bad. nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And that moves us up to a 133, which is a point below where they were. Again, that's not a huge deal. And this then puts us in for the new race. This is the Dubai World Cup. The one we didn't previously have. So, okay. It's going to be an actual bigger test. Yeah. Going to be a bigger test. We haven't actually watched this one, so I'm going to watch this one with both. I want to see how they run. I know it's going to be later in the day, so here we go. Godolphin Mile, Tire Motors, Nabuda, Alquoz, Shaheen, Turf, Shima, the World Cup. The World Cup. Let's run it. Inside draw. Out a touch late, but that's not the end of the world, potentially. Does mean, though, that we can't go to the front and we will get blocked off. We're trying to find a way through, but we're going to get blocked off. Are we forcing our way through there? Is that like disqualification levels of trying to get through? I'm not sure. A bad start on the inside gate like that against a quick field too could prove kind of costly. So down to the final 1.5 inside the final furlong. Horses are coming from deep. They are coming at speed. There's a good pack chasing, but Candy Star will take that by a couple of lengths. Don't mind that. So that was 2.8. In first place. And that takes us to a 135. Sweet. I'm glad that there wasn't any issue, but I could see why maybe there would be. So it's the what's next? Mile 3? Yes, I think this goes mile 1, 2, 3, 4 the way we set up. So this should be the Takarazuke Kinen up next. So again, didn't win at a mile 1 or a mile 2 as comfortably as last time. Definitely a better progression from first, third, fourth, first. Because now we've put that mile 2 in order as first and first. We'll see what they do in these. But again, higher sort of prestige races, higher quality races, higher prize money races as well. So, yeah, slightly more to kind of work for. We've watched this one as well. And that's a second, which is slightly better. So, second place by 0.4. So these are just kind of tighter races, honestly. Drop down to a 133 is absolutely fine. And it's absolutely fine. But yeah, we weren't a million miles away at a mile 4. The mile 3 we were, And we've ran that a lot better this time, so I guess that could have also been just like a bad run. Maybe something that didn't happen, or maybe this was just a good run. But I'm not going to sit here for hours testing and messing up stuff and trying to figure out what's going on when I can just kind of do a brief test and get a vague idea. We don't need perfect information. But I did have two questions here, which was number one, is Candy Star a 1 mile one horse? And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say it really is, and I misjudged it the entire time. And so I didn't have the right information going into the Kentucky Derby on that front. I also didn't have the right information with Stardrom, which I thought was only a mile one. And because Candy Star was a mile 2 to 3, it fit better. And Eve Secret was a mile 2, which fit slightly better. And they both performed the best in the tests, in the trials we ran. So, I was kind of then left with this idea of what's likely to happen and why Candy Star winning the Derby then led to them running the others. So there is something to learn about this. But I had my questions like, is Stardrom really a lot better than I gave it credit for last year? Yes. Is Candy Star actually not a mile 3, but a mile 1? Yes. Both my suspicions are 100% correct. Doesn't really mean much, doesn't give me any credit because it's on the back of me getting both those things so horribly wrong in the first place. It's more just the realization and suspicion that actually I have messed both those questions up. So, yeah. What we came to answer, I think we're answering both. What I will say is the difference between Candy Star and Stardrom is very minor. And the difference is probably that 10% difference in their stamina bar. Which sadly does mean, as we've said previously, Stardrom had a better chance at the Belmont than Candy Star ever would have. And considering Stardrom so far has beaten the time set by Candy Star at a mile 1, mile 2, you think that the Derby and the Preakness are also on the table for Stardrom, and they would run the Belmont better, they'd have a much better chance at cleaning up the Triple Crown. Whether it would have happened or not, I don't know. I do believe that they would have. And so the most important decision I have to make every single season, I got wrong. I'm very, very glad Riverbow moved up there because that gave us a lane to run. We are going back on the inside though. We're getting bumped into a bit, and oh my gosh, we're getting bumped into, but we are hitting the point where we normally go rocket ship. There's 5 abreast at the front. Blair and Bowl on the outside is doing good. Now we're coming up the inside with Sister Guru. Brockfield Ayrton just there. Yeah, that's a very, very interesting one. We didn't start well. But we ended okay. And the trip was too far. And we ended 131. So, I will say that right now, Candy Star had a much better progression here. Probably because we won and then barely lost and then barely lost again. And I feel like that's a confidence slash form issue that we just, because we had run poorly in the first test at a mile 4, that carried over to a mile 3. And then when we hit our distance again, we ran well. But here, because we'd won comfortably, we had more confidence at a mile 3. We were very close to winning, so our confidence didn't take a big hit, and that carried through. At the end of the day, a mile 1 took us to 134. A mile 2 took us to 135 in both. The dip in the middle was rescued by the mile 2. Here, the progress made by the mile 2 was hurt at a mile 3, mile 4. But I don't feel we were ever out of it. Gonna quickly reset. We're gonna run Stardrom through those 4. And that's gonna put us in a good place. Let me find Fergal. And I can save here. So if there is anything that goes wrong, we can get to it. Move this out the way. And kind of see where we're at. I know this is a decent way in. There we go. So, oh, why am I watching this? We watched this last time. It's not this. It's not this that we want to watch. We won this by 8.6 lengths last time. And sustained an injury. Beautiful. Okay. Well, that's going to mess things up, isn't it? So we're not going to do that. We shouldn't have watched the race. I didn't want to watch the race, and I ended up messing up by watching the race. So, fantastic. We can skip. We can win. We can win by 4.2. Okay. That's almost half the length. That's fine. And we still go up to the 134 that we did last time around. Not too bad. Okay, Candy Star, you are getting used to forward time. And get Stardrom into the big race. The Emirates Dubai World Cup. Beautiful. And there we go. So we will be favorite. Let's go and see what we can do here. Off to a solid start on the outside. If we do go to the front as I expect, we shouldn't get blocked off. And there we go. Great little start. That's what I want to see. We can let Dovey D take over the lead and help us out a little bit if we want to, but that's what I wanted to see there. So what did we win this by last time? 3.4? No, 6 lengths. Different mile 2, but we won at 6 lengths. This is definitely a higher caliber of race for sure. A lot of horses in and around us. A lot of horses here that could prove a little bit of an issue. We kick on a little earlier than normal, but we are lengthening, and it's hands in the air twice in a row. Stardrom's him. It's just him. Okay. I don't. don't know what else to say about that. He is just him. After the second race last time, they were 138. He's 138 again. He is 138 again. The one place he lost rating was at a mile 3. And yeah, we're up to 9 million prize money right now. After 2. After just 2. So I think this is what, like June 22nd? Something like that. The Karakura Keenan. Somewhere around there. So one more to get us close. Or is it in the 9th? No, something else is on the 9th, I feel. I think something else is on the 9th of June. Yeah, this is 22nd. Head to Hanshin. We have seen this one before. We lost it by 0.2 furlongs. Ooh, actually third. By 4.6. Ouch, okay. That's kind of a confusing run. Honestly, that one is a confusing run for me. And dropping down to 134. We only dropped down to 136, I believe. Yeah, 136 last time. So, that's not amazing. Candy Star and Drom are kind of both flipping back and forth. They're second by tiny amounts, or third and fourth by 3.5, 4.5 lengths. At a mile 1, when the first test at a mile 3 and 4, Drom won very nicely in those comparables. In this one, so far, Candy Star has actually performed much better at mile 3 and done really well at a mile 4. So I wonder if Drom just isn't going to get a good run in this next one. But at a mile 1 and a mile 2, in both cases, Stardrom has been better. So they might be very similar at a mile 3, mile 4, but a mile 1, mile 2, 100% Candy Star has been there. But the only one to win a race at a mile 1, a mile 3 or a mile 4, has been Stardrom. So they both kind of are either very good or just good. But the little peaks, all the peaks are Stardrom's direction. This, I believe, should be the last one. Because this will put us at the beginning of October and line up our last race at the beginning of November. The Breeders' Cup Turf on the 7th. Don't crash, don't get an injury, don't do something that makes you not being able to run. Wanna run this. Okay. Yep. So, let's look. Candy Star, out of 8 races, 4 wins, a second, 2/3, and a fourth. So 4-1, 2-1. Yeah, 4-1, 2-1. And ended with an average. I'll write this down. 4-1, 2-1. And ended with an average of a 130 3. Gonna save here just in case there's something stupid that happens the day before. Nothing does. Sweet. There's the mile, sprint, and here's the turf. Lovely. Let's get into this and watch this then. So, yeah, after that first round of testing, I thought 100% Stardrom is just amazingly better. Now that we're looking at it over this test, and the fact that Candy Star ran so poorly at a mile 3, mile 4 last time, and well this time, it does make me think that we had a bad run in the Belmont, and we had a shot and maybe, could have won that Triple Crown. We just didn't. At the end of the day, we just didn't. And if we'd have played Stardrom there, maybe the same would have played out, maybe not. But if we ran Candy Star through it again, they might have got the Triple Crown. I do feel that Stardrom was the better option and should have been the horse. But that's just hindsight right there. Oh, that's so close. But Stardrom holds on. Stardrom does hold on. We do get a win. By 0.4. And that ends us at like almost 13 million in prize money. And we should have had 1.5 million more if we won all 4 races. So yeah, that would be massive. And we end at 138. Okay, so that's, yeah, let me total up this. So it's 3 wins there, 3 wins there. So it's 6 wins, 1 second, 1 third, 0 fourths, 0 fifths. I didn't put the fifths in, but that's the money places. And this is a 138.5. So a 3rd and a 4th place for Candy Star turn into 2 extra wins when it comes to Stardrom. And let me just, average ratings over the runs, 133 to 136. We're going to handicap it because the 2 extra points that we started without for Candy Star, we'll add and push the average up to 135. But just consistently, Candy Star, a little bit behind Stardrom. Just a little bit behind Stardrom. And all of our testing, just keep showing that the margins are tight. And Candy Star might have just run poorly in the Belmont, as I believe they did anyway. But probably still wouldn't have won it if they'd have run a good race. Stardrom would have been slightly better. Not a miles better, but slightly better. On a normal day. On a good day, they would have possibly been a lot better. So both of them running at their peak. I think they both win the Derby. They both win the Preakness. Candy Star 2nd or 3rd at Belmont by about anywhere between 1.5 and 2.5 lengths, maybe. I don't know if they get closer in that race. Stardrom's peak in the Belmont is possibly winning by up to 2.5 lengths. So we've learned. And most importantly as well, we have also learned that we can trust both of them at a mile 1, mile 2. If we're moving up at all, it's going to be Stardrom. It's going to be Stardrum I would rather run. So, with all that knowledge and all that being said, we can now go back to the main save in our next video and book out this promising season and just know that we've got a bunch of good races early on that we now know how to split. Candy Star and Stardrum can split the races in Dubai and in Saudi, and at the end of the season, they could split some races as well at the Breeders' Cup meeting as 4-year-olds, depending what else we're running. You know, if it's 3 and up, then we've got questions. But for anything that's 4-year-olds and above, especially these two, we now know roughly what we should be doing. We should be splitting, but Stardrum should be getting the higher profile races for sure. So that's why I keep extra saves about. That's why I've got this little breeding / testing save going on. And that's why we can now have a clearer viewpoint at the start of this season and line Stardrum's races up and Candy Stars up with some conviction. So thanks for stopping by. I hope that was interesting. I hope that kind of is another way of thinking about it. You know, using another save as kind of the CK trials instead of exporting, but putting them onto a new transfer list and then making sure we're reloading the backup of that original save so we're not losing these horses from the original saves we want to race them in. They're both still here. But then using that to actually test in-game races and in-game scenarios. So if you're unsure, you want another way of testing, this is it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Some people think that the trials are cheating. If you think that the CK trials are cheating, even though they do lie to you slightly, then you're definitely going to think this is too. That's fine. It's your game, your decision to make. But for me, information is good information always. So I'm learning a lot. I hope you are too. I hope you've had some fun along the way. And I will see you next time when we kickstart this new season, 2031, and push Stardrum to the stars. I'll see you then. Till next time, take care, stay safe. All the best to you. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of this video in the description down below. And how excited are you moving forward for Stardrum? Just didn't get the Triple Crown, but we've got a 3-year-old version just waiting there. We can do that in another save. Check out the memberships, the other playlists, all available. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you next time, guys.